Good morning, children, and welcome back. Now, today we are going to learn about history topic. Yesterday we have learned one topic. Can you remember which topic we have taken yesterday?
Effect
Yes,
of
miss.
British rule.
Yeah. See, just don't give me chorus answer. Okay. Now, who wants to answer? Just raise your hand. Yes, Shubham, tell me which topic we have learned yesterday. Yes, very good. Effects of British rule. Now you know that Britishers came in India in 17th century, right? And the purpose was to trade in India and gain profit. So from 1858 to 1947, Britishers ruled over India. That is before our independence. Almost 150 years they ruled in India. Now, during this period, they frame many rules and regulations on their own. Some policies and some laws also they introduce. Okay, fine. Can you tell me, yesterday we have done half chapter of effects of rule. Today I am going to continue that chapter. Now, do you remember which topic we have covered yesterday? Yes, Dhruv, can you answer? Which topic we have covered yesterday?
Yeah, miss.
Yeah, tell
Yeah,
me.
miss. Yesterday we covered the subsidiary alliance, British and Marathas, dual government, parliament laws, civil service, and military and police forces, I think.
Very good, very good. Dhruv has almost covered all the topic which we have covered yesterday. That is parliamentary laws, then dual government, then Treaty of Salbai. Even we have done with the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so now today we are going to learn about economic policies. Okay, economic policies we are going to learn. Now, children, you know that many invaders came in India. They ruled over India before Britishers also. But none of them has done anything, any changes for Indian economic policies or Indian economic system, except Britishers. Britishers has inculcated economic system in India, and due to this, Britishers were gaining profit, and because of these consequences, the Indian people or India started facing economic exploitation. Now, exploitation means what? That treating peoples unfairly or asking to work more hours or getting benefit from the labors from India. So now, Britishers' main intention was to get profit. Now we'll see the screen. I'm going to share one screen. Okay. Now see, the first of all, we'll talk about land revenue policy. So in economic policies, Britishers have framed some policies. So first of all, we'll talk about land revenue policies. Now you can see one picture over here. Before the British rule village. Can you see it? See, this is very colorful picture, very silent picture, or we can say all prosperities you can see in this picture. Now, so before the British rule, the village economic system was self-sufficient. Now, self-sufficient means what? So, self-sufficient means a person who grows his food on their own, or you can say able to produce or provide everything you need without any help from others. That is called self-sufficient. So, the Indian people were self-sufficient before the British rule. And as we know that the primary intention of the Britishers was to gain profit, and eventually they wanted to conquer the vast territory of India. So here, this is the picture of before the British rule. After that, one other picture is also there. That is before the British rule. Land revenue was main sources of income of the state. Now of our state, land revenue Revenue means tax. Nowadays, we are paying tax. Have you heard about tax? Have you heard this word tax? Anybody? Okay. Can you tell me? Yes. Hello. See, yeah, I was talking about tax. Tax means what? The certain amount we have to pay to the government. And previously, as we know that India is an agriculture country. So the farmer used to give revenue that is in form of grain. And the main sources of revenue was the land revenue. During that period, you can see the second picture, before the British rule, foreign trade. Before the British rule, here the people are collecting grains. The farmer was exempt. Okay, so they were paying their tax or revenue in the form of grain. The farmer was exempted from taxation in case of loss of crops. Revenue was mainly collected in the form of groups. So wait. So previously, when Britishers were not there, farmer used to give tax in the form of grain. And the second thing was, if the crop is not produced in good quantity, the farmer was not asked to give the tax. See, the farmer was exempted from the taxation in case of loss of crops. So if crop is not good, if the crop is not produced in good quantity, the farmer was allowed not to pay the tax. And revenue was mainly collected. Revenue, that is tax, was collected in the form of grains. Next, sir. Now we'll see the next slide. You can see here. Now when the Britishers came, as they wanted to increase their income, the Britishers made important changes in the revenue system. Here you can see the first picture, farmers are farming in the field. And in the second picture, you can see the Britishers are there. So what they did, some major changes they did in the revenue system. So how they were collecting the taxes, we'll see that land was measured as per the area of the land, the tax was fixed. See, if any farmer is having more land, he has to pay more tax. So it was measured as per the area, not as per the produce of the crops. And the tax was fixed. Payment was asking compulsorily to pay in form of cash. See, the farmer were made compulsory. They have to pay the cash only as a revenue. Now, if the farmer failed to pay the tax in time, then his land would be confiscated. See, if the farmer is not able to pay, in some times we can say that crop is not good. So if the farmer is failed to pay the tax, then his land was confiscated. That means they have to pay the tax. For that purpose, they used to go to money lenders and they keep their papers of the land, and they used to take money from the money lenders. And even if they are not able to pay the money lenders money, then their land will be confiscated. Nowadays, you must have heard about income tax, isn't it? Income tax return we used to pay in July most of the time, but because of this pandemic time, the date is increased. Okay, so extended date will be announced by government. By the time we have to pay the tax, and if we fail to pay the tax, we have to give some fine on that. Okay, this is nowadays system. But at that time, tax was asked compulsorily to pay in the form of cash. Okay, even though farmer is not able to produce good crops that year, they have to pay at any cost. And nowadays we are paying tax. Can you tell me why we are paying tax? What the government is doing with the tax? Anybody knows this?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, tell me.
means the government the taking the test tax. So वो अगर यहाँ रोड बन रहा है तो वो रोड कंस्ट्रक्शन अगर खराब है तो उसको कंस्ट्रक्ट करेगी अच्छे से। तो ऐसे हमारे लिए हमारे सर्विस के लिए हम सबके सर्विस बेटर सर्विस के लिए वो जो हम टैक्स देते हैं वो उनसे वो काम करती है।
Very good, Dhruva. Okay, see, we are walking on the road. Everybody, every day, you can see that we are walking on the road. The roads are very clean, isn't it? So you see that the sweepers are cleaning the road. Even we are having lighting on the road. Do you pay bill of the lights which are in front of your house? Do you pay that bill?
No.
No, right? So that bill will be paid, or that light is provided by the government, that road is cleaning by the government, the beautification of your city is done by the government. All this work is done from the collection of tax. Is it clear? So same way, to form some administration work, to fulfill the projects, all these things that Britishers need money. For that, they have increases the type of taxes. Next, sir. Okay, now here you can see consequences of new land revenue system. Now the new land revenue system on the rural life. For payment of taxes, Indian farmers started selling the crops at whatever price it received. Now, as I said, if they fail to pay the tax, then the land will be confiscated. So, in that case, what the farmer used to do, whatever price they got, they started selling their crops. And the merchant and brokers also started purchasing their goods at a minimum rate. So at certain time, the farmer had mortgaged his land to the money lender. Now mortgage means what? That money you borrow from the money lenders to pay something. If you want to purchase some house, or you can say the form of loan, to pay the money or to pay the tax, farmer used to mortgage his land to the money lender for arrangement of money to pay the tax. Now here you can see that farmer became bankrupt in case of non-repayment of the loan. The farmer had to sell his land. Okay, so if the farmer is not able to pay the loan which he has taken in time, so he has to sell his land. Now due to this, the farmer was exploited by the government, by the zamindar, by the money lenders and the merchants. You can see that here are the money lenders and merchants are there, you can see in the picture. So the consequences of new land revenue system, the exploitation was done of the farmers by the government, zamindar, as well as money lender and merchants. We have seen that some difference between the pre-British tax system and the Britishers tax system. Pre-British, they used to take tax as a grain, in form of grain. And the Britishers used to take the tax in the form of cash. Even in the previous time, pre-British period, the farmer was accepted if the crop is not good, exempted from the tax system. But in British period, they asked to give tax compulsorily, and for that purpose, the farmer used to keep their land or farm with the money lenders and used to take money from the money lender to pay the tax. Next, now we'll see the next one. Commercialization of agriculture. Now see, in this economic policy, the next policy is commercialization of the agriculture. Now initially, food grains were cultivated by the farmers. In the starting, I said the people were self-sufficient. Whatever they need, they themselves grow the food, whatever they require, without any help. So initially, they were cultivating only grains. Okay, is to fulfill the domestic need as well as the needs of village. So they were fulfilling their own need as well as the needs of village. Now some people are cultivating rice, some will be maybe pulses, some will be maybe wheat, like this. So in between the village, there all the needs, domestic needs were fulfilled. The British government started giving more encouragement to cash crops like cotton, indigo, tobacco, and tea, etc. Now what happened? To get more money, see, Britishers' main target was money. They have to gain profit. Okay, so everywhere they were finding how to get money from the farmers. So what they did, they encouraged the people who were farming the cash crops, that is cotton, indigo, tobacco, and tea, etc. Now the process of giving stress on cultivation of profit-giving cash crops. Now all these four items are cash crops. Cash crop means what? The item we use or the plants we plant or the farmer which they plant, people, sorry, uh, the plants that people grow to sell and not to eat. See, they were cultivating these crops not to eat, but to sell, to get more profit. So the next is the process of giving stress on cultivation of profit-giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as the commercialization of agriculture. Now this is the definition of commercialization of agriculture. I'm reading once again. The process of giving stress on cultivation of profit-giving cash crops. See, giving stress on cultivation of profit-giving cash crops. These four items were giving more profit other than the grains. So, the cultivation of profit-giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as the commercialization of the agriculture. So, this is commercialization of agriculture. Can anybody read this four line? What is commercialization of agriculture?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Yes, miss.
No, now not through. Can Sarah?
Teacher, can I?
Can you? You have to raise your hand. Sarah, can you read?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, just read it.
Initially, food grains were cultivated by the farmers. It used to fulfill their domestic needs as well as the needs of the village. The British government started giving more encouragement to cash crops like cotton, indigo, tobacco, tea, etc. The process of giving stress on cultivation of profit giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as commercialization of agriculture.
Very good. Okay, now one more student I will ask to read. Just raise your hand. Who wants to read? Raise your hand. One of them I will take. Okay, Shubham.
Yes, miss.
Read this last four line. Last four line. The process of giving.
The process of giving stress on cultivation
Can I?
of profit-giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as the commercialization of agriculture.
Okay, very good. So the process of giving stress on cultivation of profit-giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as the commercialization of agriculture. Now we'll see the next slide. So we have done with this slide. Now we'll move to the next slide. Okay. Now see this picture. There are two pictures. Whose mic is on? Please mute your mic. Okay, students. Now see, during this period, that is from 1860 to 1900, India faced great famine. But the British rulers did not take much efforts to overcome it. Now see, famine means what? Famine means the lack of food in a region and facing suffering from illness or death. Or you can say a situation in which there is no enough food for great number of people. For the great number of people. Nowadays you will say, Miss, even I don't have food at home. So this is not famine. Okay. Famine means what? A situation in which there is not enough food for a great number of people, causing illness. Because of that, because of lack of food, people were falling sick and they are suffering from death also. You can see the picture, the condition of the people over here. Look at them, how they are waiting for food, isn't it? They are suffering from illness. You can see their body, how they looks like. Even they don't have proper food, even water also sometimes. And in the second sentence, you will see that Britishers didn't take any pain or any effort, or they didn't provide any expenditure in the provision of water supply. Now, water is our basic need. So Britishers didn't arrange any effort or any provision for the water also. So that was very sad. Here I am having some more major famines in India during 1860 to 1900. So the first one is 1860 to 61 in the Western United Province. In the Western United Province, there was a major famine. In 1865 to 66, Bengal, Bihar and Orissa, they were also suffering from the famine, and the Orissa was the worst at the time. And this Orissa is known as Odisha nowadays. So we know as Orissa. Even in 1876 and 77, Maharashtra and South India also faced famines. After that, 1896 to 97, again Maharashtra and South India faced the famine. And the last one, that is 1899 to 1900. At that time, Gujarat and Rajasthan state was suffering from famine. So during this famine period, the Britishers didn't use any money to overcome it. So these are the effects of economic policies. Next. Now after that, as their motto was to gain profit, gain money, money and money, what they did development in the transport and communication system. Now first of all, we'll see that there is one train that was the first railway in the British period. So first railway ran on the route of Mumbai to Thane. You can see the model of train. Nowadays we are traveling by local train as well as metro. You know that. Now look at the style of engine and all. Okay. So now, why they introduced this system? Why they developed transport and communication system? To increase the trade and convenience of administration. The Britishers developed modern facilities like transport and communication in India. In 1853, the first railway ran on the route of Mumbai to Thane. And in the same year, the Britishers started telegraph system in India. You can see the machine of telegraph. Even I have not seen this machine, but at that time, in Britishers' time, this one was developed to communicate with other city, other person, other countries. They started this telegraph and telegram machines. Due to this, all cities and military stations got connected to one another. Nowadays, we are so lucky that we are having mobile in our hand, and within a second, we can contact any person all over the world, right? And before that, we used to send postcard. You can see one more picture below that engine, below that train, that is of postcard. So Britishers started the postal system. So if we want to send some message, we used to write on this postcard and we are posting from the post office. And is used to reach by 2-3 days in the interstate, in our state. And for interstate, that is Bihar, Gujarat, Rajasthan, whatever places, if you want to send some message to your parents or to relatives. We used to write this postcard and it was reached about 13-14 days to it was reached. So it takes long time to send some message or to communicate with some person. But nowadays, within a second, we can join with any other person in any other area or any other country that is all over the world. Not only communicate, we can see lively. Now also you can watch me live, right? So because of all this technology, now it is possible. But at that time, it was not there. So their better administration, they started all these facilities, and these facilities are the railway, telegram, as well as postal service. Next. Now we'll see the next slide. Decline of traditional industries in India. Now here, you can see that one picture, some persons are doing something hand weaving. First picture, that color picture, just observe that picture. Some people are doing something hand weaving work. Even on the right side also, the person is doing some carpentering work like. So they are doing some handmade work. These are called artists. We are also doing painting and pictures and sometimes embroideries and some other weaving work, right? So all these artisans were doing something handwork. Now during this period of the British government obtained huge taxes on goods exported from India to England. Now see, people were making all these things and they used to export the articles from India to England. After making, how people are selling all their items, right? So same way, here the artists were making their own creation or article and they used to sell it in England. So that is called export. From India, we are sending something to sell in other country, that is called export. So while exporting the articles from India to England, what British government used to do? He used to take more taxes, huge tax on that goods. On the other hand, very less tax was imposed on goods imported from the England to India. See, from R he used to take more tax, but from that imposed. Whose mic is on? Please mute your mic. Now, the goods manufactured in England were machine made. You can see one picture that is machine here. Below that hand weaving picture, there is machines are there. So the goods manufactured in England were machine made and hence there was maximum production at minimum cost. See, it takes very less time and it produced more products. So we have Indian people has to compete with that. And after making with the machine, its rate was very cheap. And if the person is weaving or embroidering all this thing, by handmade, it takes lots of days, lots of pain, right, to complete one article or one produce. But here, when they were making with machine, it takes very less time and it produces very big amount. And what happened? They were selling that on minimum cost. So to compete with cheap products was difficult for the Indian artisans. Eventually, it led to closing down the traditional industries, and many of them, they became jobless. They became unemployed because all the companies, all the industries was closed by the people who were conducting that industries. So as there was no sale, even there was a very long period to complete that one article or handmade articles, eventually that going to be closed down and the artisans become jobless, or you can say unemployed. Next slide, we'll see. Okay, now next slide, we'll talk about development of new industries in India. Now see, due to lack of British support, experience of management and capital, the Indian businessmen could not come forward in large numbers. Now see, Britishers were not supporting our Indian people, right? So even the Indian people were not having that much experience of technology. So what happened? So because of that, some Indian people wanted to come forward, but they were not able to come forward in large number because of non-support, because of not having experience, because of not having that much amount, because of not having idea of management. So people could not come in large number. But some of them, see, all are having problems. If we want to do something, sometimes we have to face problems. Here, some of them. Hello, whose mic is on?
हेलो मिस
Yes.
मिस मेरे सिस्टर का लेक्चर अभी चालू हो
Hello.
जाएगा.
You can leave. Okay, so some of them built up their business by overcoming these problems. See, even though having all these problems, lack of support, lack of management, lack of capital, all these things, some of them have come forward. They cope up with the problems, overcoming these problems, and in 1853, Kawasji Nanabhai Dawar, Kawasji Nanabhai Dawar started first textile mill in Mumbai. After that, in 1855, the first jute mill was started in Risra in Bengal. See, once it was started, some other people also took risk to start some business. So again, in 1855, one more jute mill started in Bengal. Now in 1907, Jamshedji Tata, you can see the picture of Jamshedji Tata on your left side. He established the Tata Iron and Steel Company at Jamshedpur. In India, coal, metal, sugar, cement and chemical industry also started during this period. You can see the picture of Tata Steel Company below the Jamshedji Tata's picture. Now we'll see the next slide. Now, after economic policies, we are going to talk about social and cultural effects. Now see, as many years they were in India. So in 19th century, Europe, a new era took shape on basis of values like humanitarianism, democracy, nationalism, and liberalism. Because of all these values, some new shape was taken by this new Europe, that is called New Era. Some changes were there. Now we can see what changes they have done. So this change in West led to obvious repercussion on India for carrying out administration. The British had to understand the Indian society. Now they saw that we have to live in India, so they have to inculcate what are the values of Indian culture. They have to study Indian history. So they thought like that it is not necessary. Okay, so here they started studying the tradition of history, history, literature, as well as music and flora fauna of India. Do you know what is flora fauna of India? Anybody knows what is flora fauna? Okay, so I'll tell you what is flora fauna. Flora is a plant life and the fauna is a animal life. So all these things they were started studying. See, British started studying the tradition of history, literature, as well as the music and flora fauna of India. In 1784, Sir William Jones, an English officer, established the Asiatic Society of Bengal at Kolkata. Now see, because of all this tradition they wanted to learn, so Sir William Jones has established, you can see the picture of Sir William Jones upper side and the below one is Asiatic Society at Bengal. Next we'll see Many changes they have done during this period. Now next slide. See, this is Asiatic Society of Bengal at Kolkata. Now in the next slide, we are going to see about Max Muller. Now see, in the social and cultural effects, now we are talking about Max Muller. He was a German thinker and devout scholar of Indian religion, language and history. See, here is the picture of Max Muller. He was devout scholar. Devout means very religious. He was interested in Indian culture, Indian religions, traditions, and Indian languages. Many languages we Indian have. So many languages he used to learn. And history. He was interested in all these things. So these examples aroused feeling among newly educated Indians to study Indian religions. Here, all of them were started studying Indian religion as well as Indian history and the tradition. Now, the British introduced many laws in India. During this period, many laws were introduced. Many acts were passed by the Britishers. So, in 1829, Lord William Bentinck, you can see the picture at the left side. He is Lord William Bentinck. He passed Sati Prohibition Act. Now you can see one picture below that, Sir William. You can see that one lady is sitting on the pyre. Sati Prohibition. Sati Prohibition means what? After the death of husband, the wife was forced to sit on the pyre and burn herself with his husband. At that time, they were telling she has no right to live or survive if her husband is no more. So after the death of the husband, the wife was forced to sit on the pyre and burn herself with the husband. And this is actually Hindu tradition. In Hindu religion, in previous time, this was happening. But in 1856, okay, so in 1829, William Bentinck has passed this act, that is of Sati Prohibition Act. And in 1856, Lord Dalhousie passed the Widow Remarriage Act. Widow means whose husband is expired. So that lady is called widow. So Widow Remarriage Act. Previously it was said that if husband is dead, that lady cannot marry again. But the Dalhousie has passed this act of Widow Remarriage Act, and these acts were responsible for social reforms. So because of this, socially reforming of India was happening. Now in the next slide, we'll see about Lord Macaulay. Now here, carrying out administration in India, the British required English educated Indians. Now see, to do in administration all over the India, they needed some manpower. And the Indians were not able to speak in English. They were not learned English. And for the administration, as this England people, Britishers people used to communicate in English, they needed some English educated Indians. So in that case, that Lord Macaulay, in 1835, what he did, he started English education, imparting with the Indians. So that means English education started being imparted in India. Imparted means sharing, giving information, giving knowledge. So Indian also started getting education in English from 1835. Now through new education, Indians were introduced to Western thoughts, modern reforms, science and technology. Through new education, now as they were getting education in English, they introduced all the Western thoughts. See, we were knowing about Indian, but people came to know the Western thoughts, even modern reforms, as well as science and technology, that machinery and all the science and technology Indian people getting from English education. And in 1857, university were established in Kolkata, Mumbai, and Madras. Now Madras is known as Chennai. So in these three places, they established universities also. You can see the universities pictures are here. And the last one is the Western educated middle class Indians led the social reform movement in India. So now after getting education, see, England people started giving education in English. So the Western thoughts also discussed in the education. So now due to this Western educated middle class Indians, they led to social movement in India. In next chapter, we'll see that social reforming of India and struggler of India. So when they came to know what are the techniques, what are the basic, all this of Western thoughts. So Indian people, those who are in middle class, they also started doing something movement for the reforming of India. So that we'll see in the next chapter. So now students, today we have learned about effects of British rule, and especially about economic policies as well as social and cultural effects. Now I'm going to ask you some questions. Those who knows, please raise your hand. Okay. Now who passed the Sati Prohibition Act? Yes, who wants to answer?
Miss I.
Who's that? Just raise your hand.
Miss
Dhruva. Okay, Dhruva,
Yes.
tell me.
Miss Lord.
Yes,
Miss Lord William Bentinck.
yes. Lord William Bentinck has passed the Sati Prohibition Act. And Sati Prohibition means what? That the lady whose husband is expired or death of husband has happened, so that lady has to burn herself sitting on the pyre with the husband. Now, can you tell me some other person? Now, Dhruva, you wait. Huh? Now, which act was passed by Lord Dalhousie?
Miss, I know.
I know that you know, but let other get chance. Okay, who wants to answer here? Vishakha Mishra has raised the hand. Vishakha, tell me. Which act was passed by Lord Dalhousie? Yes, come again. Yeah, anybody else? I think, yeah, widow remarriage. Okay, yeah, you're having some problem with the net. Okay, but I heard that Widow Remarriage Act was passed by Lord Dalhousie. Now, in which city Tata Iron Steel Industry established? In which city?
Miss, can I?
Who's that?
Miss Parth.
Parth. Yeah, Parth, give me answer.
Miss Jamshedpur.
Yeah, Jamshedpur. And it was built by whom? Who established this?
Miss
Miss Jamshedji Tata.
Yes, very
Jamshedpur.
good. Jamshed Tata established this iron and Tata Steel. Right. Okay. Now my next question is, which cash crops were encouraged by Britishers? Cash crops.
Miss I.
Amir Khan. Who's Amir Khan? Amir has raised the hand. Can you answer, Amir? Okay. Khushi, can you?
Yes, Miss.
Yeah, give me answer. Which cash crops were encouraged by Britishers?
Miss, can I?
No, Khushi is giving answer. No, Khushi, are you ready?
Yes,
to
Miss.
answer?
Cotton, ego, tobacco, tea, etc.
Come again. Cotton. Hello.
indigo, tobacco, tea, etc.
Right. Cotton, indigo, tobacco, and tea, etc. were the cash crops which were encouraged by the Britishers. Now the next question is, the first railway ran on the which route in India?
Miss Memoru.
You just raise your hand so I can ask you. Those who want to answer, just raise your hand. On which route the first railway train ran in India? Yes, Praveen Singh, can you? Praveen, you raise your hand. Can you answer? Okay, I think he's not able to unmute himself. Piyush,
Miss
yes,
can I?
Piyush. Yes.
Okay.
Tell me, Praveen. I think network issues are there with him. Okay. Piyush Pandey.
Yes, Miss.
Tell me the answer. On which route the first railway ran in India? First time in India?
Miss, the history of Indian
Miss, I know.
dates back to over 160 years.
Miss,
No.
first railway has traveled to Mumbai to Thane at 1853.
Very good. So in 1853, the first railway train ran on the route of Mumbai to Thane. Okay, fine. Now, can you tell me what is commercialization of agriculture?
Yes, I can.
Miss,
Yes, those
can
who
I?
want, please raise your hand. Yes, Khushi, you want to answer? Yes, Khushi, can you?
Yes, Miss.
Yeah, tell me.
Miss,
The process of giving stress on cultivation of profit, giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as the commercialization of agriculture.
Very good. One more student I want to repeat. Who will repeat this answer?
Can I?
Miss, I.
No, not
Miss.
Dhruv again.
Miss,
No,
I.
Dhruv.
The process of giving stress on cultivation of profit giving cash crops instead of food grains is known as the communication of agriculture.
Commercialization. Commercialization. Just repeat. Hello. Just repeat this word, commercialization. Hello, can you hear me, Dhruva?
Yes, Miss, I hear you.
Read it.
Yes,
Come on.
Miss.
Yeah, read.
Okay. The process of giving stress on cultivation of profit-giving cash crop instead of food grains is known as the commercialization of agriculture.
Very good. So children, today we learned about the effects of British rule. Especially we talk about economical policies as well as the social and cultural effects, right? In that we have seen that Britishers passed many acts which was really helpful to reform our country, to make social reformation of our country. Even they started some universities, they started imparting of English knowledge, or we can say English education, because they need the English educated people. They're also, they are having their own motto. If they want to work with the Indians, if they want main power, they have to train Indian people through English. So they started universities in Mumbai. They built Asiatic Society of Bengal in Calcutta, as well as some of the businessmen came forward after so many problems, facing problems. They came up. In one of them is Jamshedji Tata as well as Kawasji Nanabhai. All these businessmen started their businesses. Even we talked about land revenue, that is in form of cash from the Britishers' rule. And previously, when the kings were there in India, we used to give taxes in the form of grains. And in that time, we have seen that many famines took places, and for the famine, to overcome from the famine, the Britishers didn't use much money on that to overcome the famines. And even for the water supply, they didn't provide any money or any plan for that. And after that, we have seen trains, that is communication, for communication purpose. They started trains, railway train. For the transport, they built the roads and telegram system as well as postal system. And lastly, we have seen all the acts, which was remarriage, video remarriage, as well as Sati Prohibition Act. Right? Now, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Do you have any doubts about today's topic?
No, miss.
Okay. Thank you so much, Thank you so much, children. And we'll
No,
see. Okay, fine. So we'll continue in the next topic, next lecture. Okay, so all the best. Let's go through all the questions given in the textbook and just try to write down answers of these questions. Okay.
Teacher.